is Wisp.
Okay you perverts, Swazdola and how the hell are ya? Today we are going to talk about the most bootylicious warframe in the history of warframes. Wisp. If you think there is any way I will not talk about that task then you are crazy. DE, this is your fault. Please do not ban me from region chat. Anyway. Wisp is arguably one of the most elegantly designed warframes to ever see the light of day. She is swift on her non-existent feet, has the most fluent movements and transitional animations in-game. She may not look like much but can easily tank, buff, support and even heal like nobody's business. Overall one of the most fun to play warframe to date. So then, let's flash forward to her passive abilities. While Wisp is in the air, she becomes completely invisible. Which is essentially God mode since enemies that cannot see you also cannot kill you. Loki can suck an egg. Upon touching the ground there is a tiny delay before her invisibility runs out, which means you could totally stay invisible forever if you play her like a bouncy playboy bunny. The only thing that will unveil her while she is invisible is gunfire. Not even silent weapons will prevent this. However, if you stick with melee, then you will stay invisible. The next passive ability Wisp has that no one noticed and is top secret is that her booty has a 100% chance to proc horny teenagers. Balance I guess. Now to her first ability. Weird-ass looking alien Cabbage. When you tap the first ability, Wisp will cycle through her n-dimensional Cabbage buffs. Vitality, Haste, and Shock. By holding the ability key, she will deploy them. Each of these floating cabbage heads will grant you and your allies different buffs by walking into the radius of effect. The red one, Vitality buff, will grant you additional health and healing over time, which is affected by ability strength. It will also give your fourth ability a 25% damage buff while active on you. Haste Cabbage, the green one, will grant 20% faster movement speed and 30% melee speed. On top of that it will give 100% corrosive damage buff to your fourth ability while active on you. The blue alien egg, Shock, will essentially give you a Vauban shock ball that shocks and stuns enemies that get close to you and try to violate your personal space. Which is pretty damn useful for crowd control. This shocking solid head will stun up to 5 targets every 3 seconds and also grants your fourth ability another 25% damage buff. All 3 cabbages will last forever since they have no duration. But the motes around you have a 30-second lifespan. Unless you refresh them by running back to the area of effect. You can place up to 6 motes simultaneously. Each new one after will delete the oldest previously existing one. Okay then. Let's haste to the next ability. Willo Wisp, the only ability in-game that shamelessly exploits wisps behind to distract enemies. Tap this ability to cast the wisp clone in the direction of your aim that will distract enemies and draw their fire. Tap again and you will instantly teleport to the clone's location. As if that in and of itself wasn't already pretty cool, guess what? There is more. You see, while your clone is traveling, you will be invisible regardless of being airborne or not. And if you choose to teleport, then you will no longer be invisible but therefore become invincible for 3 seconds. Yes, you heard correctly. After teleportation nothing can kill you for 3 seconds. You can also choose to hold the ability key and deploy a way faster clone that you will teleport to the moment you release the button. This is pretty damn sexy if you find yourself in a pinch and need to yeet out quickly and quietly. That's about all you need to know here. Next up. Stop staring at my ass. This ability will seem easy peasy at first but it actually has way more going for it than what meets the eye. Wisp will cast funky ass fairy dust around her and blind enemies within range and line of sight. These blinded enemies have a 10% chance to emit a tiny light missile when damaged by any source that will home in on nearby enemy heads. These missiles can deal extra headshot damage but deal all damage as radiation. These deadly sparks of light also carry a damage multiplier. Blinded douchebags are also susceptible to stealth damage, however not finishers. All in all, this will ramp up damage very quickly and cause large groups of punks a lot of butt hurt. Every enemy killed will spawn a spark for sure. Same goes for each tick of damage from Wisp's ultimate ability, Soul Gate. Hold up, there is more synergy here. If you chose to cast the blind ability while your Wisp clone is traveling, your clone will also cast the surge for itself. Which means you can get away larger area of effect and blind punks around corners or behind obstacles too. Provided your clone has line of sight instead of you. In addition, you may also cast your third ability on an existing Cabbage from any distance, which will instantly teleport your soggy ass to the Cabbage and emit a blind with double the range. If your clone happens to be active at the same time, then the clone will also receive double blinding range. I know, this shit is hard to believe, but it is what it is. These combos can easily make for some godlike crowd control and extra damage. That pretty much wraps this ability up. Moving on. Praise the motherfucking sun.
Praise the sun. Praise the sun. Praise.
Execute Order 66.
Upon pressing 4, Wisp opens the portal to the freaking sun and focuses its energy into a powerful beam of light to scorch the shit out of anything in her path. Now if that doesn't sound like a bleach bankai, then I do not know what does. Soul Gate will seem like it deals shit for damage at first, but allow me to enlighten you. First off, this knockoff Death Star Planet Killer beam has infinite punch through, so it will pass through any enemies in a straight line. However, its effective range caps out at 40 meters. You could mat for more range of course, but come on, 40 meters is more than enough. The beam will deal mainly heat and radiation damage, which checks out with astrophysics as well. Just saying. Anyway, here is the thing. The Death Star beam will gradually ramp up its damage every 0.5 seconds. Each time by 50%. The beam can reach a maximum of 500% extra damage, which will take 5 seconds. If you hold down the fire button, you can double the damage at double the energy drain. So use with caution. Now let me briefly demonstrate what this thing will do when used by an armed rhino. As you can see, there is no question. The damage is laughable at best. So what's a Tenno got to do around here to deal decent damage? Let me show you. Remember the synergies I mentioned earlier? Using all 3 buff cabbages will give you a total damage boost of 50% and a guaranteed corrosion proc, and blinded enemies emit sparks that also deal and multiply the damage that they receive. So check this out.
Jesus Christ.
I rest my case. Now while using Soul Gate, you can Wisp dash in any direction, sprint and cast the Wisp clone with all its features, which gives you super good mobility, so that is pretty much all you need to know to not be a shitty Wisp. Here is my build. Bear in mind, this build is a little excessive, but it is so far the most fun for my play style and super effective. You however, can do whatever the hell you want. I modded mainly for strength so that my cabbages grant insane buffs and sparks from blinded enemies do not just tickle targets. I also added rush for speed because to me, it's funny. Sue me if you must. This is also the reason why I use Amalgam Serration on my Foreman build just so I can piss off Sonic the Hedgehog. All in all, this warframe is probably one of the best at the moment. Fast-paced, versatile, resilient and deadly. Having a Wisp on any team can benefit everyone to a silly extent. Now then, it is time to like and subscribe to this shitty channel. And do not forget to fuck off.